Today I went and I got my hair trimmed up today, and I think it was at least a better job than the last time. But it's been a few months since I last got a haircut. Anyways, me and her, we got to talk, and she was an older lady. I'm gonna say mid to late 50s, and we were talking about kids today and somehow not really wanting to work, despite having jobs. They just don't want to work. And she shared with me a story about one of her employees that she has there, that they're always looking for excuse not to go into work. They're always looking for excuse to have to go home early. They just didn't want to work. And this was very frustrating to her. And I was able to relate to her some accounts where I work, how we have some younger individuals who sit there and they're always are looking for a reason to go home early. They're always looking for a reason to have to not come into work. And it just, now, maybe we can just brush this off as just these guys being youth, that these individuals are just being, they would rather do anything else but have to come to work. And I get it. I was young once. I didn't like the fact that I was going to work on a Saturday or a Friday night when I could have been out hanging out with my friends, hanging out with my girlfriend, doing anything else but work. But unfortunately, this is not just on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday thing. This is nearly every single day. And I personally have witnessed young adults who, because they just kept calling in, they kept finding excuses not to have to go to work, they eventually get fired for a lack of attendance. And to me, that's very sad. And I'm seeing, it's something we're seeing more and more today. And it's even gotten to a point where some individuals, they're kind of forced to work to keep certain welfare benefits. They don't want to work over a certain set of hours, or else, they lose everything. And I can understand if you're actually going to if things are a struggle and you actually need the money. But at the same time, I would think that by working more, you would have more money. And I also understand that's not always the case, depending on the job. Where I work, if I think you'd probably be knocked off food stamps within the first week of employment, because you'd just be making too much. But that's neither here or there. But the point I'm trying to make, it just seems like the work ethic is not there. It's just not. I find it disturbing. A lot of other people, Gen Xers like of my age and a little older, we're all realizing that things are just falling apart. It's the work ethic is not there anymore. Now, don't get me wrong. I've actually known some young individuals who fantastic work ethic. They would work circles around anybody. And a lot of times it was how these young individuals were raised. A lot of them were raised in agriculture, where you had to go out and do your chores or else animals would not survive. You were responsible for making sure the cows were fed and watered and new bedding, whatever is needed. You were responsible for it. You had to do it. This wasn't just, a pain in the neck chore you had to do. This was your family's livelihood. There was a sense of urgency. We don't have that sense of urgency anymore, other than, I gotta go pay my bills. I don't know why I should have to do this. My mom and dad should be paying for this. And that's the attitude. It's just not there anymore. And I personally do not have a great solution for it, other than perhaps we need to start changing our societal views to that, instead of life being a party, that if you don't work, you're going to be broke. Okay, we need to really be focusing more on that. We need to start focusing more on trying to let this younger generation know that this really is life. And maybe in your eyes, life should not be about working 40 hours a week. And unfortunately, that's exactly what it is. And it doesn't matter where you go in this world, you're going to have to work to survive. And if you want to thrive, you have to work even harder. Okay? Now, I've heard a lot of people say, we never had to do this before. Oh, this is just a billionaire thing, forcing us to work and la la la. I've heard it all. But the fact of the matter is even before we had industries, before we had, all these different, particular jobs that you had to do, you still had to get up if you didn't and start preparing for the cold season. You had to get up and you had to go out and hunt. You had to get up and go start gathering food. You had to get up and start planting your food. Large gardens, you had to go plow the fields. And I'm not talking, when we talk about plowing, we make it sound like it's like a new thing. It's, in the last 100 years, it's not. It's plowing has been around for centuries upon centuries. It's how we prepared the ground for planting. All this had to be done. And really, when you think about it, we have it easier today than we did back then. And yet, today, there's just no sense of urgency. And maybe that's the problem right there. Maybe the problem is that we no longer have a sense of urgency when it comes to having a work ethic. I got Crow over here going a little on the crazy side. Wind's picked up. Beautiful day today. I'm getting ready to step into work for a few hours of overtime, and then I'm not sure what I'm doing after that. But drop a comment. Let me know what you think about today's work ethic. And God bless all of you. I'll see you on the next one.